How are you doing? Hope you're having an amazing day. Hope you're having an amazing week. It's Friday, so end of the week for a lot of people, so we're happy because it's the weekend. Anyways, what's bringing us today here? You may ask. Well, I was having a discussion with my auntie this morning, and we were talking about drawing boundaries and the fact that like a lot of people have issues with that, and that, you know, sometimes it puts you in very like uncomfortable situations where, because you have not drawn boundaries, certain people are going to step on you and in your boundaries, and you're gonna feel bruised, you know. Today I wanted to talk to you about the importance of setting up boundaries and the importance of investing your time. People like to separate those two subjects, but I think these are subjects that are they go pretty well together, because for me, if you set boundaries, then it means that you have a better perspective on what's valuable for you. So when you're setting out like boundaries, you get to understand what's important for you or not. And when you get to understand what's important for you or not, that's when you actually start to value your time. And that's when like time becomes this thing that you respect and that you invest, and you do not just waste it or spend it or whatever. So yeah, that's literally what we're gonna talk about. All right, so yeah, just get comfortable and let's get going. The first thing that I would like to talk to you about when it comes to setting standards for yourself and setting boundaries is that, as I was saying before, you need to sit down and to understand why you need boundaries. You know, as someone who used to be a people pleaser, as someone who used to like actually always want other people to be pleased, even at the disadvantage of my own well-being, I can tell you that it took me a long time to actually understand why it was important, you know, for me to set boundaries with myself and with other people. Because in a lot of situations, actually, I would find myself letting people do certain things, and then I would feel very unsettled. I would not feel pleased at all. But then I was very conscious that, you know, you're the one who let those people do it. You can't get mad because you're the one who let them do it. So even when someone would hurt me, I would sit down and be like, okay, they do have a part of responsibility in the emotion, like the hurt that I'm feeling. But at the same time, this wouldn't have happened if I had set up clear boundaries, you know. So let's say that from 2022, 2023, I've been learning to set very clear boundaries, you know, with myself and with people. There is a lot of things that I'm not going to do, not because I don't want to do them, but because I understand that for my own good, I shouldn't be doing that, you know. So it's really important to set your standards, to set your boundaries. Actually, when you set your boundaries, you set the standards to which like people are gonna deal with you, you know. Because when you have no boundaries, then the standards are pretty low. But if you have lots of boundaries, I mean, I'm not saying be a guarded tour, but at the same time, you have to have some mechanism in place, you know, a minimum. So the more the boundaries, let's say, the higher the standards. But at the same time, we don't want to get like too high, because that means that nobody is good for you and you're never going to deal with human beings and you only deal with God, which is impossible because you live on earth. Yeah. So you need to find that balance between the things that you can compromise on and the things that you actually can't compromise on, and the things that actually have a big impact on you and on your life and how you live on earth. And that discussion came this morning because my auntie and I were talking about time. This is going to concern mainly Burundian people because and my auntie also, we've had to deal a lot with Burundians in general. So I don't want to generalize. I don't want to go into, that whole stereotype of like African people are always late, African people are this and that and this. All sorts of people are late, But as someone who grew up in Burundi, Burundian people have this particular talents for being late. They have this particular way of being champions on lateness, that I've never seen on any other person that I've met in my life, and I've met a lot of people. So we were talking about the fact that, sometimes when you have friends and you don't set boundaries, those people are not going to respect you, and it can be showcased in how people treat you with your time. We're talking about the fact that, sometimes when you as a person don't value your time, you can go and ask the neighbor to value your time. Meaning, if you don't set the boundaries, like, okay, you know what? I'm someone that does a lot of effort to not be late. I expect that from you. It's just common courtesy. It's like, if I'm on time and I make sure I'm on time, it's because I respect my time and I respect yours. So I expect the same courtesy from you, But certain people are not going to have that mentality. Certain people view being late as something very natural, something very accepted, something very normal. And maybe that's not your values, but maybe you're like, if you're late, I'm going. So if you are among those people that are like, that have people in their life that are always late, you're always going to find it annoying because you yourself are not late, but then people in front of you are always late. So it can kind of give you the impression that they don't really respect your time. And that's partially true. They don't respect your time, but it's because you don't respect your time as well. In the sense of, when someone is always being late with you and you don't address it, like you don't address things, you're not setting a boundary there. You're not setting a standard, and those people don't know that, it's something that they should be doing. So obviously they are going to be doing it a lot of times, and they're always going to give themselves the goal to be late, because they're like, oh, that person doesn't mind, she never says anything when I'm late anyway, so it's okay if I'm late. So actually they are late because you're letting them. If I give you an example, I have friends that they have very poor management skills when it comes to their time. Let's just place it like that. I'd say that God gave them a lot of qualities, but like time management was not among those. So it's something that they have to work hard for, And for the longest time I was annoyed, until I got to understand, like, it really doesn't serve me to just be annoyed. I really need to address that with them. So I would sit down and I would tell them, like, girls, if you're late, I'm leaving, I'm going, because that's just not normal for you to be late. Every time that we have to go somewhere, you're late. It's annoying. So when they know we have something, they're not going to be late, because they're gonna be like, she doesn't like when we're late, so let's not be late. And the same goes for my auntie. Like, when she puts a lot of effort in being on time, obviously the people that she's going to meet are going to put that same effort, because she was very clear on the fact that, I need you to respect my time. Because if you are, let's say you're 45 minutes late, those 45 minutes late are 45 minutes where I could be sleeping some more, I could be doing some chores around the house, I could have maybe had my breakfast in peace slowly, or my lunch, and I would have digested way better than how I did, you know, because I was trying to be on time for you, and you just took 45 minutes away from my 24 hours for no reason. And then some people even go as far as to push the thing and actually tell you, like, you know, if for example your plan was from 3 to 7, they're gonna show up at, like, let's say 3:45, and they're gonna expect you to actually stay longer than, you know, the time that you guys have said. So maybe instead of 7, they're gonna be like, oh, can we stay together until like 8:30 or 9? And you're like, so I have to push everything else that I was supposed to do because you came late and you want us to spend time together. Like, no, that's not how it works, you know? So actually, it's really important for you to understand that people will deal with you according to the boundaries and the standard you set for yourself. There's a lot of things that my friends can't do when we're together because I've made it very clear that, you know, I don't like that behavior. It's really not something that I like. You know, for example, when I was in France, they would come over at my place, and when they came over, I would be like, do you guys want like some clothes to change? Maybe if they spend the whole day at work or outside and they want to be comfortable at my place, like, do you guys want some clothes to change? And they'll be like, yes. And I would go in my closet and I'll take the clothes and I'll give them. Some people have that tendency of just taking things and using them without asking you. And because of let's say the base that I had set up with my friends, the boundaries that I had set up with my friends, I've never had anyone do that. At least, you know, not on my watch. And even when I'm not there, my friends can't go into my stuff and just take things and use them without asking me, because I've made it very clear that, you know, this is where my kindness stops. Like, I love you and I'm very kind to you, and you can use my stuff, but like, don't just take without asking. It's just inappropriate, you know. That's inconsiderate, that's inappropriate, and it's just, c'est pas poli, tu vois. It's either I propose or you ask me, like, can I? And I'll be like, yes, sure, no problem. You know, it just shows that you understand that it's something that disturbs me when you do a certain thing without like asking me before in my space and everything. That's kind of like the setting boundary parts, because obviously when you are setting boundaries, you are setting standards. Because if your boundaries are in existence, the standards are very low. If the boundaries are well defined, the standards are well established. So people know how to treat you according to the things you place a limit on. And that's how you're able to actually control what can hurt you or not, in a way. Because if someone does something, you can just address it and be like, I told you I don't like it, please don't do it. Instead of just getting mad and getting frustrated and spending the whole day being mad, and like, you can just like, okay, you know what, this is not right, I told you I don't like it, please don't do it again. And that person's not gonna do it, and you won't have to go through that emotion again because of that specific thing, you know. So let's learn to help ourselves and set some boundaries and set some standards, because at the end of the day, people don't really know what disturbs you unless you tell them what disturbs you. And I really don't think it's a good approach to just cut off people when they do something you don't like, and you're like, oh, I didn't like that what they did. It's just, you know, in my culture or in like at my place, we don't do that. But it's like, okay, in your culture or at your place, we don't do that, but you've never specifically or clearly voiced it, so the person doesn't know that, you know. And it helps them if you voice it and tell them, like, this is actually something that I don't like when you do it, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's about that. That takes me to the second thing, which is when you're setting your standards, you get to learn and you get to know where to invest your time, because there are 3 ways to use your time. You can waste it, you can spend it, and you can invest it. Wasting is it's thrown in the garbage. Wasting somebody's time is like making them wait for you for like 45 minutes without them knowing that, you know, you're gonna be late, without letting them know. It's just like you're late and they have to wait for 45 minutes and they have to like either go on their phone or I don't know. I'm lucky because I'm always carrying a book, so anytime someone is late I just read my book. But I'm like, imagine if the person doesn't have a book, if the person doesn't have their phone, they just gonna be there for 45 minutes waiting for you. That's wasting someone's time. Spending time is using your time in a way that doesn't bring you anything back, but it's like you're purposely like spending your time there. Spending your time could be, you can be spending your time as a volunteer, for example, like you're just volunteering, but then you don't have, you're not gonna use that like volunteering experience for anything. You're just giving your time. That's spending. So you're giving, you're not really expecting anything in return. You're not really expecting when you're to that thing you're giving your time to, you're not really expecting any benefits or anything. You're spending it. It's just spending your time is also like, you know, the time that you spend in the shower, the time that you give yourself to eat, to sleep, to clean your house. That's like spending your time. And then you have investing your time. Investing your time is using your time in a way that's going to bring you something at the end. Meaning, if you volunteer in something that you know is going to be good, for example, for your CV or for your career, because sometimes you can get like a volunteer experience and then put it on your CV to get like a professional experience. That's investing your time. You can be learning a language, a new language that's going to help you professionally or just in life in general. That's investing your time. You can be learning a skill, not learning a hobby, learning a skill and practicing a hobby. That could be investing your time, you know, because you're doing something with your time that's going to bring you back some like benefits or return, or you're going to get something from that time that you're giving away. When you're helping your friends, maybe you're investing your time because you're investing in that friendship. Like like your time is a currency you're using to invest in the friendship and to build the friendship. So you're investing your time. And it goes the same way with like your family, your loved ones. So it's good to know what your boundaries are and what your standards are for you to know how to use your time, you know, because if, for example, I know that I don't want people to be late because I place a certain value on my time and I place a certain value on other people's time. That's why I'm not late. So I expect you not to be late at the same time. That means that I am, every time that I give you my time, I'm investing it, you know, because I'm clearly conscious of the value that it has, right? So every time you do something, when you set boundaries for yourself and for other people, for example, for me, I'm like, from a certain hour, I don't look at my phone or I don't look at screens because I want to spend time reading a book, because that's like something that I know will get me something, you know. It's either I'm reading my Bible or I'm reading my book or I'm learning some stuff for class. I'm spending I'm no, I'm investing, because I'm investing in my future spiritually or professionally or anything. Like, I'm investing my time, and it's because I set some boundaries for myself. It's because I know that, okay, girl, you know where you need to be in this life, and you know what you want to do in this life, and you know that like procrastinating or wasting your time isn't gonna help you achieve that. So that's when you like choose like to invest your time and what to invest your time in. And also defining standards is going to help you invest your time, because when you define your standards, you define what is important for you in life, right? So that's when you actually know where to invest your time more or less. It's like, if for example family and friends are the most important things for you, then you're gonna invest your time in that. If your career is the most important, then you're gonna invest your time in that and the things that are gonna help you grow in your career. If God is the most important things for you and you're very conscious of it, then you're gonna spend a lot of time in prayers and meditation and reading, and that's not gonna seem like wasting time, you know. So yeah, I would say that like for me at least, how I see it is I usually put those things together. Setting boundaries will automatically set standards, and when I have like standards that are set, then it helps me with where and when to invest my time and what to invest my time. I think that's what I have for you today. I hope it helps you. I hope this little chit chat is gonna be useful. I did a lot of yapping, but I believe that you're gonna get a lot of great things out of it. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great weekend ahead. Love you. Bye.